Okay, let me show you another important thing about screen design. We'll go to the screen one that we've been working with. If I press Update and I press F8 for special functions, special options, these are some things that I can do. The very first thing is C for cursor path, and that's rather important. I want to show you what that is. If I press C, it shows me the cursor path. This is the track that your cursor will go in. It'll hit each one of these fields in this order. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. How did this arrive? This happened when we made the default screen. We're into Files, and we created a default screen of screen 0. It gives you a default cursor path also. And we copied this screen to screen 1. If I go into Inquire, Update, and Add, and I go to the screen 1, and I go to record 1 and I press enter, you notice that when I hit enter, my cursor is going to go right down the list of fields in the exact order that they were defined, 1 through 14, etc. And it goes back to the top and rolls around. If I'm here anywhere in the middle of the screen and I press the tab key, it jumps back to the beginning field. That's because there was a tab at the very first top of the cursor path, and I'll show you that again. Let me cancel out of here. And if I go into Define Screens, I look at screen 1. I go F8 and C for cursor path. You notice there is a tab at the very top. That means if your cursor is any one of these fields below this tab, and a tab is pressed, that's where it jumps to, right to this field, the first field below the tab. Tabs will allow you to move people around the screen in various groups of fields very nicely. For instance, if we wanted them to be able to jump right to the notes fields, we could use the F3 key, which pushes a line, inserts a line down, and just press the tab key here. I'm putting a tab. Now I press escape, escape. All right. Now what this is going to allow people to do is if they go into Acquire Update now, they're on this screen, and they're in any field up here at all, and they press a tab. Notice where I took the cursor to? To the first field under the tab, the next tab on the screen. If there's only one tab on the screen and it's at the top, or even if there are no more tabs below this field, and I press tab again, that's where it will go, right to the top of the screen. From any other field, tabs down right into the notes field. So let's say this is an old record and they're coming to it and all they want to do is add notes. They jump right to them, type some notes, clear them, do whatever they want, and they're out of the record. They've done something much quicker than it would have been if they hadn't had that cursor path adjusted properly. Now what else can you do with cursor path? Let's take a look. If I go to this very same screen and I update it, F8, cursor path, let's take away the cursor path entirely. I'm pressing F4. Deleted every single line in it. I'm saving it out now. Oh, let's see, my server is slowed down for a second. Okay, there we go. It's finally responding. Okay, now there's no cursor path. It's still, FilePro will still give you a kind of a default cursor path when you go into this file. If, for instance, I go into the file and I press enter, I'm still going to go down the row of fields, aren't I? That's because it's sort of defaulting in a certain way, and I'll show you in a minute exactly what it is doing. Let me go out of here. Let's go into Define Screens. Let's go to screen 1. Let's move some stuff around. Let's move the phone and the fax, for instance. I'll use the box functions. I'll press F7. I'll move the phone and the fax. Let's move it up over here. This just assuming we're adjusting the screen a little bit. Okay, let's see. Will the fields resolve? Yeah, they'll fit there. And every other field will fit there. Good. Okay, let's just do this. The email, I'm going to press F4 and suck up this stuff. I'm going to move down here and I press F3 and put it back. Now it looks nice and balanced. Okay, let's see what happens here. If I go into Inquire, Update, and Add, go to screen 1, and I press Update. Now I'm in this field. I press Enter. You notice that my cursor went different. It's going sideways, isn't it? The cursor path in FilePro will go either straight down to the next field below it, unless there's a field to the right of it. If there's a field to the right of it, it opts to go there. And now it will jump back to the next field, next column. In other words, it's going to go sideways if it can, and that's just what it's doing. Back and forth, back and forth. Now it's in a field where there's nothing to the right, so it's going to go down from here. Okay? And it will jump into this field. Now let's say we don't want it to do that, do we? I mean, if we're here, we're typing in the first name, last name, we don't want to have to type in John, hit enter, and then have to put the phone and then put the last name. So this screen is organized the way we want it, but we have to go make the cursor path do the right thing. And to do that, we go to the Define Screens, press F8, go to the cursor path. Always, always, always put a tab as the first thing when you define a screen. It's just so that whenever your cursor is anywhere on that screen and there are no other tabs, you press tab, it'll go to the top of the screen. Now let's see, what do we want to put here? We'll put 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. I'll press escape because I just want to look and see what screens are here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. And then 9 and 10, I want to do that other thing. By the way, while I'm here, I'll move over here, and I don't want this to be a must-fill field anymore. It's just to show you something before. Okay, let's go back to F8, cursor path. So here, I want to be, I'm going to say tab, then I'll put field 9, field 10, put another tab, and I'll put field 11. I'm going to put another tab, I'm going to put the notes fields. Okay, so you see what I've done? I've grouped these things to look like they look on the screen. And when I go into Inquire, Update, and Add now on this file, and I press Update, if I press Tab, I'm going to jump right over to the phone field, which is nice. If I hit Enter, I stay within that group, or the up arrow, down arrow. If I press Tab again, I go to Email. Press Tab again, I go to all around the screen. Tab, Tab, Tab. It's very nicely done. Tab, 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 all the way through the notes. So if I want to, in this case, if I freshly press Update and I want to jump quickly to the notes, I can just hit Tab, 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 and I'm on the notes. A very, very useful thing to be the cursor path and tabbing. And by the way, Shift Tab takes you backwards along the tab path. If I hit Tab, see how I'm going backwards through all the tabs. Tab takes you to the next tab stop. Shift Tab takes you backwards to the previous tab stop. Cursor path is very important, and if done right, can really make your screens very ergonomic for people to use and very fast to use.